When we think about games, it's so easy to just picture them as a hobby, right? Something for kids, maybe, or a small group of superfans. But what if that's not the whole story? What if we've been looking at it all wrong, and games are actually one of the biggest and most misunderstood cultural forces of our time? This quote from Robert L. Gatewood's work, it just perfectly sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about. Think about it. Play is this fundamental human thing. You can't just make it vanish. When we discourage it, it doesn't just stop. It just goes somewhere else, usually into private, unguided spaces. And that, right there, is where the trouble starts. So how does that actually happen? How does play get pushed out of sight? Let's zoom in on that moment. Because what that dismissal does to someone's passion, well, it's huge. I mean, we've all seen some version of this play out, haven't we? A kid pours hours, days into building something incredible, something they are so proud of, and they show it to someone they trust, only to hear, oh, it's just a game. But here's the part we miss. The kid doesn't stop playing. They just stop sharing. All that engagement, that learning, that passion, it goes quiet. It retreats. And this isn't just about a single conversation. That small moment is part of a much bigger pattern. The source material calls it a culture of misunderstanding, and it breaks it down into 3 really big problems. So first up, we've got trivialization. This is that gut reaction that play isn't real work or real learning, that it's basically a waste of time. When that's the message we send, we're pretty much teaching people, especially young people, to hide the parts of themselves that feel most alive when they're playing. Next, there's reaction. So much of the public conversation around games is driven by these scary headlines, right? All about addiction or screen time or whatever the panic of the day is. And this creates a culture of suspicion, where we come at players with fear instead of just being curious. We end up asking, why are you playing so much? Instead of, what's this experience like for you? And the third piece of the puzzle is isolation. Our society tends to treat play like this private little habit that should happen behind closed doors. But when we don't have shared public spaces for play, think libraries or community centers that really embrace it, we make that isolation normal. We basically pull play out of the community, and we lose one of the best ways we have to connect with one another. Okay, so if those are the problems, what's the fix? Well, this is where we get to shift gears and look at a totally new framework, a new way of seeing all this. The idea of games culture. So what is games culture? It's not about the games themselves or the companies that make them. The source defines it as the creative energy that comes from people. It's the fan art, the music, the online communities, the strategies, the stories that all grow around the games. It's about human behavior, plain and simple. And to really get a handle on this, the source gives us this brilliant little tool, the 5 fingers. These aren't just random hobbies. They're described as 5 core human instincts. We play to explore. We create to build. We compete to grow. We collect to remember. And we critique because we care. When you see these things happening, you're not just watching a distraction. You're literally watching culture being made in real time. All right, so with this new lens, how does our actual approach change on the ground? This next part is all about making that shift from fear to fluency, from having a knee-jerk negative reaction to having a positive, really constructive engagement. This slide just nails the difference, doesn't it? On one side, you have questions that come from fear, and they sound like accusations. On the other, you have questions that come from genuine curiosity. Just feel the difference between why are you playing so much and what does this experience ask of you? That one changes everything. It shifts the entire conversation from control to connection, from judgment to an actual open dialogue. And look, this isn't just a feel-good theory. The source material points to groups putting this into practice right now, like the Games Culture Association. The GCA is built on this really cool idea that games are a form of civic infrastructure, like a park or a library. Their whole goal is to build community and literacy around games and make play a visible, accessible, and responsible part of public life. And that brings us to the real heart of this whole thing. Understanding games culture isn't about just giving play a free pass. No, it's about taking on a whole new kind of responsibility. This is so important. This framework isn't about ignoring the risks or challenges that can come with games. Not at all. Instead, it asks us to become stewards, to guide, to mentor, and to care for the culture of play, the same way we would for any other vital part of our community. And in the end, it leaves us with this. This is the big question. The debate about whether games matter, it's over. They absolutely do. The real question now is for us. Are we willing to behave as if the people being shaped by these powerful experiences also matter? Are we finally ready to engage with their culture, not with fear, but with the curiosity and the respect it truly deserves?